Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about the differences between the two cities that I seem to get asked about quite a bit, if not Vancouver, and that is Ottawa and Toronto. One of which is the real capital of the country, and the second one people seem to think is the capital of the country. Surprisingly, a couple years ago I was in the States and I was at a store and the individual did not even know Ottawa was in Canada, so that was kind of funny. I guess that's not so surprising, but it's funny. So anyways, moving on, Ottawa's slang, or Ottawa is often referred to as O-Town. I'm going to stop touching my hair. Ottawa is often referred to as O-Town, and I think that is probably very telling of the fact that Ottawa is more like a town than it is a city. I think it actually has the best of both worlds, and I really love that place, and I love calling it home. Toronto, on the other hand, is very much a city. Toronto and its surrounding suburbs are hectic, but they have so much to offer. The population of Ottawa, as per Google, is close to 900,000 people, whereas for Toronto, we're looking at 2.6 million people. I don't know if this includes the suburbs, but I'm just going to go ahead and assume it does. And if it doesn't, that is insane. So, Ottawa is the actual government capital, or the official capital of Canada. And the reason why I said government is because that is where the most opportunities lie professionally if you are looking to work for the government. There are government jobs all over Canada. Obviously, the government needs you to do stuff everywhere. But if you are looking to work, as a member, with a member of parliament, or to become a member of parliament, to be the prime minister, I don't know, you're gonna have to go to Ottawa. Whereas Toronto is much more of a industrial capital. It's full of big buildings and banks and, industrial type stuff that, whatever that entails. But yeah, that's the difference between Ottawa and Toronto, very much in a nutshell. Now, before all you internet unstable people start jumping down my throat, I want to let you guys know that opportunities in every field exist in both towns or cities. But, generally people tend to migrate to Ottawa for a specific reason, or they tend to migrate to Toronto for a very specific reason. Now, because Toronto is a much bigger city with a much larger population, it means that there are a lot more opportunities, but that also means there's a lot more competition. In Ottawa, because it is the capital, the competition to work within the public sector is very, very high. So often, people end up going there and they face a lot of challenges. Now, Ottawa is very, very bilingual, and if you are up against someone for a job and you both have the same educational qualification, the same work experience, but the other candidate is fluent in French, they are likely to get that job over you. Now, I do not speak French. I speak the embarrassing kind, where I mispronounce every single word. But fortunately for me, my job doesn't really require me to know French or speak it, so I'm okay. So it really, really depends on what sector you're in and what you want to do. Ottawa is also right next to Quebec, right? So there are a lot of francophones who come into Ottawa, and for a lot of services and customer service, often the customers will request someone who can only speak French to them, and they won't want to speak in English for whatever reason. On the other hand, Toronto is, I think, a lot more English-based. Again, if you do speak French, at the end of the day, we are still in Canada, so people prefer a bilingual candidate. Not that that is the only criteria over someone who doesn't, okay? Now, the schools in Ottawa, I think, are very, very accommodating to the requirement of liberal arts there. So Carleton, Ottawa U are the two big universities there. I went to Carleton University and I studied human rights, and for a long time I did work in the human rights sector. I worked with nonprofits, I worked with NGOs, and did a lot of work in that sort of field. I reported some things that happened over at the Parliament, etc., etc. Ottawa U and Carleton both have really, really good science programs too, like their engineering, architecture, etc. are really good. And I know that because I have friends who went there, as well as their law program. And I know they're very competitive. Algonquin is a really, really good college. I went there for my personal training program, and I really enjoyed that too. Overall, I really love Ottawa, so I don't really have anything negative to say about either of the two cities, or city and town, I don't know. On the other hand, we have, University of Toronto, we have York, we have McMaster, we have Queen's, we have Seneca, we have Humber, and all of these colleges and universities are sort of in Toronto, in surrounding suburbs in Toronto, in little towns in and out of Toronto and the GTA. So no matter where you want to move or where you want to study, it really will depend on where it will take you into this large country. So, but again, I'm only talking about these two places for now. Now, public transit is insane, okay? In Ottawa, I think the public transit system is a lot more affordable. Both cities, I have used a Presto card, so it's like a little green card. I should have brought it out with me and just showed it to you, but you can Google it. You just tap it when you get on the bus, and then it charges you. The cool thing is when you use a Presto card, I think you save 15, 20 or something %. So you don't pay as much as you would pay if you were to throw coins into the little doohickey. But Toronto, you can also use a Presto card, but there's so many different transit systems. There's, the GO bus, the Zoom bus, the TTC, the Union Pearson Express, and they all accumulate to a lot of money. On average, if you are living in the GTA and you want to commute into downtown Toronto for work every single day, you are looking at spending upwards of, I think, $500 a month just for transit, and I think that is insane. Mind you, the cost of living in Toronto is so high that often that is what people do. On the other hand, the cost of living in Ottawa is not as high. You can actually get a pretty decent apartment pretty close to downtown Ottawa for under $1,000, or maybe close to that, whereas in Toronto you will probably get nothing. Maybe you'll get a cup of coffee. No, it's not that bad, but it is pretty expensive. So the suburbs that are around Ottawa are, there's Canada, there's Gloucester, Orleans, there's Gatineau Hull. So they're all kind of on the different sides, east, west, etc., etc. And there are other options to consider moving into. But if you are younger and you're looking for a more vibrant scene and you are in Ottawa, I probably would suggest staying in the main sort of city or hub. Whereas in Toronto, if you move into like Markham or Brampton or Scarborough or whatever, you will still have a really good time because there is stuff going on everywhere. Again, I'm not saying that there isn't good things happening in the suburbs in Ottawa. I'm sure they're really happening, but I'm just being real with you guys because I have lived in these two places. At the end of the day, a lot of people ask me about nightlife and social life and friends and blah, 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 blah. Look, the truth is you can make the best time of your life in the most boring town in the world. Ultimately, it really depends on your personality, what you consider to be fun, and also the sort of social network you create for yourself. I mean, like, I went and did my master's in Cardiff, UK, and it is like the tiniest town and there's like nothing to do there, but I probably had the most fun and partied the most that I've ever partied there, as opposed to when I lived in Toronto or when I lived in, I don't know, any big city in my life, and there's been a few of those. So it really, really depends on what you want to make of it, where you are in your life. I don't really party anymore. My whole life sort of revolves around the gym and YouTube, so I just kind of like to be close to a gym and eat really good burgers and stuff. So my priorities are obviously very different, so I'm not really looking into the party scene. I do go out every now and again, and I will have to say that Toronto always has ongoing festivals and like there's the Rib Fest, the Mac and Cheese Fest, the Taco Fest, etc., etc., etc. There's various music festivals happening, so there's always something going on. There's a lot of performers. There's the International Film Festival, whereas in Ottawa there are festivals too. There's the Jazz Fest, there is Winterlude. They have a huge shindig around Canada Day. So again, hopefully I'm able to help you guys out and give you some sort of like overall understanding of the two places. The last thing I forgot to mention, and I just realized it because I looked outside and I saw snow, is that Ottawa is a whole lot colder than Toronto. So if you are looking to move to Ottawa but you hate the cold, maybe give Toronto a try if you're really kind of like torn between these two places. Canada is a large country. There's a lot of opportunities no matter where you go. Vancouver is incredible too, and I do want to talk more about that city also, and Montreal, and whatever. But that's something I wanted to mention. So I find that the summers when I was living in Ottawa were very short-lived, but in Toronto I find the winters are not as bad. But again, I love the snow, so it doesn't really bother me. Anyways, I think I've gone over all my points. If there are any more questions, please leave them down below, and I will try and answer them as soon as possible. I have been answering a lot of questions on my Instagram. I'm becoming all social media savvy lately. My Instagram name is the same name as here, Orchids and Lime. So be sure to check that out. There's nothing really I post on there, but I do try and converse with a lot of people. Over the last couple of days I've been answering a lot of emails, and I try and answer anywhere between 2 to 4 messages a day. So I know that's not a lot, but trust me, with the amount of messages I get, I feel like that's more than enough. Anyways, I really hope I'm able to help you guys out. There is enough shit going on in the world. Please try and be kind to one another, support strength, support love, and spread happiness. And I hope you guys are having a great season, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.